Rich Mays Lopez.
And I'm Brennan Dunn, news editor at Soul Collector.
And this is Full Size Run Show. Hashtag Get Rich or Done Trying, the absolute best sneaker podcast stream live.
The hashtag is important. Please use the hashtag.
Use it. Don't forget the Get Rich or Done Trying. Packed week for us. Brendan, a lot of things going on. Let's get right into the news section, please.
Okay, we want to talk about the Black Cause Air Jordan 4.
Yes, we do.
There was some info leaked last week that this sneaker may be or probably is releasing in 2018, spring, summer 2018. This is a shoe we've known about for a bit now as a friends and family pair. Dave Creech from Jordan Brand has a pair. Yep. And then kind of after the news broke, actually yesterday, Cause posted this image you see here. Not confirming it by any means, but perhaps suggesting, given the timing, that this shoe is indeed coming to retail. Rich, are you looking forward to this shoe?
100%.
You want a pair?
I feel like we've spoken about the gray cause for at length on this show and on all of our other shows, and how kind of underwhelming it was.
Yes.
And I agree with that.
Even though we picked it as the shoe of the year,
exactly.
which I still don't know how that
Despite
happened,
the fact that we both agreed that it was underwhelming, we still picked it up as a shoe of the year so far. The black pair to me is just fire.
Yeah, much better.
It's fire.
Much better.
I mean, I love myself a triple black sneaker.
Will you wait for hours for them like we did for the gray pair? Because that did happen.
No, it didn't.
That did happen. That did happen.
Allegedly.
One cold Brooklyn night. All right, Rich, let's talk Nike and the NBA.
Yeah.
A deal that we've known about for a while now, and a deal that a lot of people have been looking forward to unveil. Nike finally showed us the jerseys this week.
So Adidas is no longer the official sponsor of the NBA uniform. It is now Nike going into the next season. Three things that we basically haven't seen in a long time, because Champion did have their logo on the jersey a long time ago, but three things we haven't seen in a long time, which are two different logos and advertisers on the NBA jersey as well. It's a huge deal to have a swoosh and a Jumpman on the NBA jersey.
Another interesting thing about this is Nike's trying to do away with the traditional naming system for the uniform. So they're calling there's no more home and road jerseys. There's
this I can't mess with.
What is it? The association.
Yep.
The icon.
Yep.
And then there's two more that they haven't unveiled, called something inspired by the athlete's mindset and something inspired by the community. And basically, at the start of the season, each team picks what their association and their association jersey, and then they rock with that at home games.
Yeah, listen, I love Nike. We all know that. This is doing too much.
Okay.
It's doing too much. It's like the game has been the same way for a long time. I'm all here for innovation, but changing the way we pick home and away jerseys is just too much. It's unnecessary.
You're not feeling it.
It's the color when you're away and the white when you're home. That's it. I feel like we've been doing way too much with jerseys, going back to when Adidas had the NBA jerseys with the sleeves, with different nights. You know, you have all these different uniform flips. Just like, let's keep it simple, stupid. Is more what I'm about. Fair
enough. Getting back to the sneakers for a second, we do want to talk about a leak that came in today, a shoe that is purportedly the Nike PG2, although we've since
reportedly
heard that it may not be. But regardless, it is a upcoming Nike basketball shoe with a Paul George logo on the tongue that is floating out there as the Nike PG2, and kind of lines up with some of those super crappy factory leaked style photos that we saw. Again, basketball shoes in general don't do a lot for me, but I do think, as we discussed a couple weeks ago, the PG1 is a great shoe, great for the the price, the right direction for Nike basketball, but this is something else.
If this is the PG2,
which we're hearing it's not.
Okay. I'm going to assume that it's the PG2 because that's all I know at this point. It is a massive letdown. If it's a takedown of sorts, I'm questioning why PG needs a takedown when we were questioning if he even deserved a signature.
Right.
So there's a lot going on here that we have to figure out. But I'm going to say, again, if this is the PG2, it's garbage.
Fair enough. Rich, you know who definitely does need and deserve a signature? Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball, right?
He technically has a signature.
He has a signature shoe.
Lonzo Ball deserves the world.
Yeah, we agree on that.
Not only a signature sneaker.
He has a signature shoe, but he's not been wearing it
off and on,
as much as we would have expected.
First and foremost, Lonzo Ball just absolutely demolished the NBA Summer League to the tune of both an MVP and a championship for the LA Lakers Summer League team. So shout out to Lonzo Ball. During his MVP winning, championship winning campaign, he rocked Air Jordan 31 in his last game, the Nike Kobe AD in one of the earlier games, and an unreleased pair of Under Armour Curry 4s, in addition to his Zo 2. First and foremost, how the hell did he get his hands on a pair of unreleased Curry 4s? That is very interesting to me.
I'm guessing it had something to do with Curry himself, because apparently not many people at Under Armour have that pair of sneakers just yet.
But the other takeaway, and there's several takeaways from this, the other takeaway is when he was asked about him switching out of his Zo 2 into other brands, if he was trying to start a bidding war or...
Right, he said something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, and then kind of being coy about it. And then LeVar Ball saying that this is to show the brands what they missed, what they were missing out on, and that, you know, if they wanted to come back and give him $1 billion, which they certainly do not.
If the brands have not seen already the potential that Lonzo Ball has both on the court and as a marketing machine, I don't know what else we have to show them. Period.
I think the one thing I have to disagree with you on is that the marketing machine aspect, because I think the reason there's so much talk about it is because it is such a disaster and such a weird story. Like, there's so much less conversation about Lonzo Ball if he would have just signed a regular rookie deal with any of the big brands.
I'm speaking more from a basketball perspective. He's on the LA Lakers, one of the best franchises in any sport in any country. He is a top player. He's going to be, in my personal opinion, an all-star one day in this league. That's all you need. LeVar Ball, his father and Triple B's aside, a big star in a big market gets his own
A
sneaker.
big baller, even.
Yes,
we can use
especially a big baller. So I think that, I don't think no one's going to throw him $1 billion, first of all. We know that much. But I do think that brands should open this conversation again. If LeVar and Lonzo are up to it, open this conversation again.
I don't know, man.
I'm into it.
I don't think it's happening.
I want it to happen.
Rich,
Yes.
sneakers releasing this week.
And there are plenty.
Copping, dropping. My pick for the cop this week is the Run Through Time Adidas Energy Boost. You know, the Ultra Boost stuff these days, I think I have enough pair of those, but I'm wondering if maybe I've been sleeping on the Energy Boost, and we've seen a lot of this Run Through Time pack, maybe too much, but I'm still on board with this colorway of the Energy Boost.
The Energy Boost silhouette itself is easily one of my favorite.
I don't have any pairs.
I think
I made a
It's a good
mistake.
sneaker,
Yeah.
really good sneaker. The pair I have has a Tech Fit upper, and I love Adidas Tech Fit, and I work out in this sneaker. Great sneaker.
You work out?
I do. All chest, some legs. My cop of the week is a History of Flight Air Jordan 13. As I've said many times on this show, painfully, it is a down couple of years basically, for Jordan brand. They're not moving out, blowing out of stores the way they used to. But as a diehard Jordan fan, a sneaker that was previously an unreleased sample that you only could see through glass in Chicago, in Portland, in New York, coming to retail, to me, is dope. So anytime
Are you going to be buying a pair?
Oh, I already have a pair. So anytime Jordan dips into the vault to bring back something that I never thought I could get, I'm here for it.
Okay, fair enough.
Shout out to my plug.
My drop for the week, the sneaker that I will be absolutely passing on this week, is the Daniel Arsham Adidas New York. It's not the shoe itself that's so upsetting. It's just like the marketing around it. There's been such a lengthy preamble around this thing. There was like, call Daniel Arsham, and like everyone, somehow connected with Adidas was like Instagramming it. I just don't need all that marketing around a project that's not that exciting. And I would rather have an OG pair of Adidas New Yorks. This does nothing for me, and I'm sick of hearing about it, and I don't care about Daniel Arsham on any level.
It was less about the sneaker itself, but more about the lead up to the sneaker that pissed you off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Too much.
Too much.
Fuck these shoes.
But if this sneaker had 3 Bs on it, would you cop?
Yes.
Okay. The proof is in the pudding. My drop of the week is your cop of the week, even though I said it was a good sneaker, is the Run Through Time Energy Boost. The reason I say that is because, to me, this sneaker exists in the performance space, and trying to kind of force it into this lifestyle space, I'm not here for it.
No more pairs for me.
You know, Adidas is obviously riding a massive wave right now, but their margins are still slim. One misstep and it could go back to the way it used to be, in my personal opinion. So they have to tread lightly with what they're doing and what they're, what they're putting their energy behind. And I've said this a billion times about the NMD. they slaughtered that sneaker. They had something really dope and then massacred it. So this is the type of thing where I feel like they should tread a little lightly, and this one is a forced job, in my opinion.
All right. We're going to talk about our best and worst things that we saw on the sneaker internet this week. My absolute favorite was Paul George. Apologies to Paul George. He's having a rough time on the show today, but
Paul George is not watching this show
him
today.
getting scammed out of sneakers. The Miami Herald reported yesterday that a notorious South Florida con man has been running around pretending that he's Adele's manager.
Of all people.
Yeah, Adele's manager, trying to trick people into sending him sneakers and concert tickets and things like that. Paul George sent him some sneakers, I guess. It was him, Victor Oladipo, and Rip Hamilton all fell victim. He also tried to get Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook, Bismack Biyombo, Paul George being involved in a deal where he thought he was on the phone with Adele's manager and he agreed to send this manager sneakers for a charity auction. Is incredible.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
He was pretending like they needed the sneakers for a charity auction.
I thought PG wanted tickets to the Adele concert, and he was trying to barter sneakers
I don't know.
with him. Okay.
I don't know, man. The best part of it all, I have to mention this.
Yes.
This is from the Miami Herald. They said that this con man created a fake email for the manager of soccer superstar Lionel Messi in an effort to, quote, add a layer of verisimilitude to his request from NBA sneaker stars. So
listen,
he needed more layers, I guess.
feel really bad for PG in this show today, man. And I feel bad for PG as a whole. I feel like he got jerked in Indiana. He landed in OKC, which is good for him. But my worst thing of the week, and this is an actual a lot more serious, a video leaked onto the net that allegedly showed ASAP Bari committing a sexual crime, right? Sexual assault was what it was deemed. Again, I don't really want to speak about my personal opinion on it. I want to take it more from the optics of it from his number one brand partner, as we can see from this picture, and that's Nike. Mm-hmm. With every post that every blog created on the internet when this hit, Bari was either holding his Air Force One, holding this ball with the Nike swoosh on it, rocking some type of Nike gear. If I worked for Nike, I would be mortified.
Yeah, we did reach out to them for a comment, nothing yet. I'm hearing that maybe they'll do something to distance themselves. I'd be pretty surprised at this point if any of the other shoes came out. There's still a lot more shoes from his Velo and stuff, some Vandals, some Air Force Ones.
And this is fresh off of that show that was in,
Right.
I believe they were in Milan. Were they Paris? They were in Paris, where he unveiled the Vandals and more Air Force Ones. So the timing of this, the optics of this are just really bad for the swoosh, in my personal opinion. No way the rest of the Velo stuff. I don't think there's any way that the rest of the Velo stuff is coming out after
I hope not. Yeah.
That was by far the worst thing that I've seen, maybe in sneaker culture, in a very, very, very long time. Very long time.
All right, moving on to a lighter note, we did take some questions from the Full Size Run Twitter, if ever you have any beef with the things we're saying.
The Twitter is Full Size Run Show, and the Instagram is also Full Size Run Show. Make sure to follow both of them. So
We'll run through a couple questions real quick that we got. Andy Sobo on Twitter says, do you think the hype for Yeezys is dying down with the next 3 colorways coming out, Rich?
No.
No. Care to elaborate?
I've been waiting for Yeezy hype to die. I'm wearing Yeezys right now. I've been waiting for Yeezy hype to die with every release, and every release still gets copped in abundance. I did say on one of the past Full Size Run shows, when we get past 350 though, I'm very interested to see what happens, to Yeezy hype then.
Okay.
If we're going to the 550 or 660 things that we saw that were terrible, then I do expect some Yeezy hype to fall off a little bit. But if we're going into the Yeezy runner space, or whatever the hell that thing is called, or that Oswego looking thing, then I expect Yeezy hype to build back up because we're in a completely different space.
Someone asked what we think of the word grail being thrown around so casually these days. This is from Childish Tokino. This one annoys me a lot, actually.
Oh, hell yeah.
I look on the Reddit sneakerhead sub, which I think is not a wonderful place in general, but everyone on there calls every shoe a grail. Yeah. It's like the shoe that came out. How can a shoe that came out 3 weeks ago be your grail? Like I'm not super into the idea of policing how people use words related to sneakers or words in general. Yeah. You know, because they
from noted linguist Brendan Dunn.
Come on. But just this idea that you know, like I said, a shoe that came out last year. It's not something you've been thinking about for years or trying to get, you know, and it's not something that's that hard to get. Like you pay $150 over retail and then you fucking have it. Like how can an Air Jordan 1 that there were hundreds of thousands of pairs of that just came out?
And it's also not something that you probably couldn't have gotten a couple years ago if you tried hard. It was not like a 1985 Jordan 1 dead stock, like, which is really hard to get. A Grail sneaker is something that is damn near impossible to acquire and should have a story behind it that links to why or how you could not get it. Right? Do you understand? If you can walk into Stadium Goods or Flight Club or go to eBay and cop the sneaker within, you know, a swallowable amount for, you know, for your paycheck, that's not a Grail. You know, like, pause. You know, that's not a Grail.
The most important question we got on Twitter from Supreme XLS, that's a capital L. He says,
don't forget the capital L.
Are you guys virgins? If not, tell me why you're currently lying.
Very important question. Do you want to take it first?
I mean, do you have any evidence?
I have plenty of evidence. First of all, I have a son.
Okay.
So unless my son is the next coming of Jesus Christ, I am not a virgin.
And I don't have a son, so we'll just leave it at that.
There we go.
We do have a guest today. We would like to bring him on right now.
We have Mubi from S&S, that's Sneakers and Stuff. Also, you have a very different perspective, at least, compared to myself and Brendan with respect to sneaker culture and
well, I mean, a lot of those subjects you were talking about just amazed me. You know, it's very good content there, and
thank you.
I've got an opinion on everything pretty much.
Do you really? I mean, we could run through it if you'd
like.
No.
I mean, I think there was too much to run through.
Yeah.
There. I mean, like there was a lot. Yeah, of course.
It's a lot.
But even, you know, so I'm a buyer at Sneakers and Stuff.
Yep.
I see everything.
Tell people about Sneakers and Stuff first.
Okay, Sneakers and Stuff, a Swedish retailer, started back in 1999 by Peter and Eric.
Yep.
Do we know how to say their last names? I've never figured it
Janssen
out.
and Fagerlind.
Okay. Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Impressive.
The way it rolls
so
off the top.
I'll let you guys match that up. I'm not going to tell you which one's which. But they started Sneakers and Stuff back in 1999, and they started selling sneakers to their friends by coming to New York, picking up stuff that wasn't available in Europe, and taking it back home.
Yep.
And they just sold friends, and it just became a thing. Brands caught on. They said, hey, why don't we can sell you shoes at wholesale?
Oh, so this was like more of a hand-to-hand operation at
Pretty
first.
much.
Gotcha.
Yeah, very, very on the ground, and you know, a lot of hard work, sweat, tears.
That's
all that
OG
kind of stuff.
sneaker stuff.
Yeah,
for
big
you,
time,
man.
big time. So yeah, I mean, like they've gone through so many ups and downs, and you know, I don't know if I can really talk about their history of it nearly not happening, you know.
Right.
And from then, it's like we've been on a crazy trajectory, and it's amazing to see where we are now. We've got a store in Stockholm, London, Paris, Berlin, all opened in that order after each every year, and long may it continue.
Sneakers and Stuff, if you guys are not familiar with it, because we have a very American audience, to me is one of the top retailers overseas. And their online space is amazing too, what you guys do online, and your collaborations.
I want to know, Mubi, kind of like, you know, now that Sneakers and Stuff is a sort of a global empire, like, do you see much different in the way that sneakers are consumed or worn from country to country? Because I think that, you know, in the past it was very much like that, but does that still exist? Are sneakers different in London versus Berlin versus Paris versus?
I think in every key city there's going to be differences because they have their cultural differences and what, you know, historically they've been into. But as of today, I think those lines have been completely blurred globally. Instagram, the internet, generally has just opened the doors out for everyone to just see what is going on from coast to coast, from continent to continent, and anything that is a big trend generally just gets followed everywhere. I mean, if you look at the streets now, NMD is huge.
Right.
Every city that you go to, someone's wearing NMD. Yep. There's no huge difference. I mean, okay, coming to America, on the East Coast, basketball's huge, and basketball's not as big in Europe. If you generally look at, you know, the general mass population, they are all into the same stuff.
So does sneaker culture still exist?
I think
if you're telling me that everyone is doing the same thing,
that's the general mass I'm talking about.
Okay.
Sneaker culture still exists
at
the top.
Okay.
It's a lot wider now.
Okay.
You know, everyone's an influencer. Everyone knows their stuff. Everyone can see what's cool and what's not cool. The tastemakers, there's so many more of them. So I mean, like, I guess that's all reflected in the amount of units that are available, the shoes that are available, the quantities that are coming out, in terms of like weekly releases. I mean, it's unheard of to be talking about 15 releases a week now.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
You know?
Minimum.
Exactly, and you just touched on like what, four of them?
And you grew up in the UK, is that right?
Yep.
Are there things you remember about, I don't know how early you were into sneakers, but about being into sneakers back then that were kind of geographically specific or idiosyncratic that don't exist anymore?
I've seen everything. So I'm a huge collector. I've got roughly 4,500 pairs.
Okay.
I started collecting back in 1996, seriously. Up until then, I didn't really have the means to buy shoes and look fresh every week. So I started working when I was 16, and then I started spending my paychecks on new shoes. Started off on Jordans, so Jordans weren't as readily available in the UK as they were in the States. eBay opened up, and my life changed completely from there. I guess back then I was very unique, there was a handful of people. I come from an era of crooked tongues.
Of course.
It was a really niche thing back then. And I've seen, the culture, as they call it now.
That's what I ask.
Just get crazier and crazier. The amount of people that are, online and interested in, what I'd essentially say my world, because I feel like I was born within that era that everything started getting crazy about it. Because originally, sneakers were just athletic shoes, for performance. There was no emphasis on lifestyle. The brands have totally latched on, and there's whole different originals. You got Nike Sportswear and all different areas within huge businesses focusing just purely on lifestyle. I don't know how I exactly feel about today. There was a lot of love, and there was a lot of kindness back then, and now it's so aggressive. For those limited drops, it's scary. People's lives are being threatened, and that part of it is not nice to see. But I guess that's what happens when the mass get involved. When people see an opportunity on resale. So talking about grails.
How do you feel about the use of that word?
I mean, undefeated Jordan 4s.
Okay.
Well, that goes to what I'm saying though.
That's something that I was so close to getting. Because Foot Patrol back whenever they were released, raffled them off, and they had decent pairage as well. And I made friends there, and I bought a bunch of T-shirts which were raffled. I think I bought 10 or 15 T-shirts, which I still have today.
Great investment.
I don't know where they are though. They're in my storage somewhere. But I was very frustrated at that time.
That's a great Grail story.
Of course. And I'm still gonna strive to try and get those.
I hate this homogenization of sneaker culture. I can't stand it, right? Where everyone is doing the same thing. I hate it, right? Back when, and I have the flip side story of you. So you were looking towards Americans for Jordans, which weren't big in overseas. I was looking overseas to what you guys were doing for JD Sports exclusives.
Air Force Ones, Max 90s,
Dunks,
of course.
COJP exclusives, which we have here. Things like that was exciting to me back then. We don't have that anymore. There isn't any real hunt anymore. It's if you're willing to line up for 72 hours, you might be able to get a pair. If you're willing to get into a raffle, but there's no hunt. There's no cross-continental dialogue going on. It's all just one big conversation.
Of course. It's coming though. It's coming.
I hope so.
There's a brand that's already kind of started.
Okay.
Again, it might be a sore subject, but the V-Longs, they weren't available everywhere.
Sure. That's a good point.
Well, we've noted that on the show that the rise of regional exclusives is coming back.
I think brands are doing some stuff, like the recent Nike Sneakers stash feature where they had the Donsi. Of course, the Donsi 2s were available elsewhere, but it's here are pairs for Los Angeles, or the PSNY Jordan 12s, where it's this is a pretty hard thing. Although I guess some of them are restocking on Nike.com.
Linen Air Force Ones, Miami on.
Yes, this is true.
There's things happening. There are things happening. But I mean, from a retailer's perspective, and just looking at how things are working now, that's feeding into reseller.
Right.
That's the way we feel about it, because that's an opportunity for someone that is geographically in a better position versus everyone else.
Yeah.
Now these shoes that are coming out geographically are only being launched retail, not online.
Yep.
So that closes the door globally.
Sure.
We're not sure how that is going to pan out.
Yeah.
We like the idea. I mean, from a from a personal standpoint, the hunt is back.
Yeah. There's always, and I'm glad we have a retailer here, or someone who works at retail, to help answer this question. The question that I've gotten throughout my career, 2 questions. 1, how do I start a sneaker blog?
Right.
And
Don't do it.
And 2, how do I start a sneaker store, right? My answer to both of those questions is always do not do either of them, right? Hold on, let me just qualify that. I spent a lot of time in retail, in sneaker retail, and I don't think that people necessarily understand the totality of what they're getting into when they're starting a retail store. It's not as sexy as it looks, from the outside.
It's hard work.
Right. So, as a retailer, if I'm coming up to you, Mubi, how do I start a sneaker store, basically? But besides that, what am I getting into?
You're getting into a world of pain if you have not got the relationships.
Yep.
The acknowledgement from the brands.
Yep.
The following, location. I mean, it's a world of pain.
Yeah.
There's so many factors that you got to think about. Presentation, it's not cheap either. You're gonna need money to start something out.
Yeah.
And then the other thing now, distribution is so fierce right now. Like everyone wants a piece of the pie. Sneakers is insane right now. It's one of the biggest industries out there right now. Every retailer wants Nike, Adi, New Balance, you name it. How do we get those limited editions? How do we get that quick strike? How do we get that consortium? Why have we not got that?
Yeah.
Unless you're in money, got a few million, and I mean a few million. Yeah, of course. Because you're gonna need to build relationships, credit line, all of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
It's if you want it to the level that you want to achieve, if you want that top line level, rather than messing around with the lower levels and the cheaper sporting goods product. That might be
We don't
slightly
mess
easier.
around with that on this show.
You have to start somewhere. I think now visually, marketing and all that kind of stuff is very, very important.
Especially since, like we were saying earlier, all the product is the same.
Yeah.
It's like you can't, it's
you
going to be so
differentiate
hard to
yourself.
set yourself apart with product because unless you get a collab, which is not going to happen,
Yeah, of
you
course.
know?
I mean, that's the least of your worries.
Right.
That's a long way down the line.
Right.
If you've built those relationships and you get to that point where you get to do a collab, and they appreciate what you're doing, digital, physical, execution-wise, hats off to Ronnie,
I was just about to say that.
Hats off to Ronnie.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. I mean, you have to really appreciate what that guy's done.
Yeah, I mean, you led me right into this. I was just about to say, a lot of the younger generation, they want to be the next Ronnie. They want to be the next Peter. They want to be the next, or Eddie Cruz. Anyone, James Jebbia, they look at these people and they're like, how can I be that next person? And they look at how sexy it is. But as you said, retail, period, but sneaker retail can be a world of pain.
Totally.
It's not that sexy.
And Sneakersnstuff had a world of pain up until where we are today.
Yeah.
Why I say hats off to Ronnie is he's done it in the 6-year period.
Yeah. In New York too.
And that's a success story.
Yeah.
I would say. No matter what anyone else says, that guy has got mad connections.
Yeah.
And he's built huge relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, if a guy can get an Air Force One for his wedding, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he's doing his own thing, the Miami linens,
linens.
and that's again built off relationships, respect, visually what he's doing, and it's great. And then we've done it in 20 it'll be 20 years soon.
I think a lot of that too comes from, connections that you make in a physical space or in person, and I worry that this next generation who wants to figure out retail or wants to be in retail or wants to sell sneakers or present them, has made a lot of connections. excuse me, maybe online, but not in a meaningful, lasting way that like the retailers of the past or the current generation did.
Today, just on that point, people that want everything for themselves want it now. There's no patience anymore. The way things are moving now is insane.
Yeah.
Trends are just moving along within like, you know, a week and a half. Oh, that's not cool anymore. Like I don't need that shoe anymore. Just again to the
V-Loans aren't cool anymore.
Like the Yeezy conversation about
Yeah.
okay, when are Yeezys gonna drop off?
Yep.
I think like Kanye or Adi will recognize, okay, we need to do something
Yeah.
else next, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, trends are always transcending into something different. And it's very, very difficult for a retailer to really keep track on it because we buy 8 months ahead.
Yep.
8 to 10 months ahead.
Yep.
And it's in, like right now in today's world, it's insane to plan anything.
Yep.
So what's the next big thing from Adi? You know, what's the next big thing from Nike?
Can you tell us?
Not really, no.
You look right into the camera.
I'm really sorry.
Tell
but
us
I
about the
can't.
line sheets for the next.
No,
couple
I've got it all
seasons.
in my pocket. You know, I wish I could share it, but I'd probably get fired. I'd probably get
That
ousted
sucks.
out of the industry. You'd probably never see me again.
But it was
Nobody
a good
wants
interview.
that. Nobody
Yeah.
wants that movie.
Made for a good show.
One more question, real quick, before we get out of here. I want to know. You mentioned earlier about you said 4,500 pairs of shoes. Where are they all right now, and how did they get there?
Well, if you're good at geography, it's in Balham, Big Yellow. I'm not
Okay.
going to tell you the room number, but yeah, it's in South London. Somewhere.
Okay.
So like a storage
Storage unit.
Storage
yeah.
unit.
I don't know how it's got to that, to be honest. I'm
Yeah.
a little bit embarrassed, but everyone thinks, you know, hearing 4,500 sneakers, that's insane. Like, what's wrong with this guy? It's been built like since 1996.
Right.
You know, look at where we are today. I mean, I'm in the industry. I get a lot of love from brands, and I'm a consumer.
Yeah.
I still love to consume. I still get amped at every showroom that I go to, every season, every release on a weekly to see it come to life. Because my head's like 10 months, 8 months ahead. I'm going to be looking at fall winter 18 at the end of this week. So like, you know, I kind of tend to forget what I've seen in the past and just wait for the releases to come. And then I'm like, oh wow, I need those.
Yeah.
Whereas previously I might not have. Like, okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
But you know, like the energy boost and that you picked as your top release this week. Like, you know, I'm amped on those. Those are amazing. I can't believe they're still sitting.
No, they are.
You know.
Yeah. Ronnie has some if you need them.
Okay.
I know we said last question. Just one more question because I feel like we need to ask everyone this. Favorite sneaker all time and why?
That's so hard for me to answer. If I had to, it'll have to be one of the Supreme Dunk High Stars.
Yeah.
The star pack.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
When I saw those first time, I just fell in love. You know, the whole croc embossed and the stars themselves.
Any particular colorway of them?
I think University Blue.
The blues.
Yeah.
Do you have all three?
Yeah.
Oh, you do have all
Yeah.
three.
I've got a funny story actually. I was wearing the orange one time and I was looking to buy the Laser Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
They released. I was working at Selfridges at the time, and I went on my a little morning breakfast break.
Mm-hmm.
You get 15 minutes. The store is like 5 minutes away. Transactions take 5 minutes or whatever. And I was running back and got hit by a bus.
Wow.
He jumped to light
But with the bag on?
with
you?
the bags. I had 2 bags on me, and like my orange stars got scraped.
Oh,
so some
fuck.
stars have gone missing, and I'm you know,
Wow.
but it's a story to tell, you know.
Yeah.
And I had like cuts.
Do you
on
still
my-
rock them with the stars?
I mean, there's somewhere in
Oh,
my
okay.
like, you know.
What size are you?
Wow.
US 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
The rest of the stars are imprinted on the tire of a
They're on the floor.
No, it was
That's
like
what
scrapes on
It's
the
like cartoon
pavement.
style, right? It's just like
And since then, yeah, like that street's been paved over so many times. So, but
But
yeah,
the spirit of your Supreme Dunk lives on
100%.
on that street.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, of course.
Mubi, thank you, my
No
man,
worries.
for coming
Nice to
through.
meet
you. We appreciate
I
it,
really
man.
feel like having people like yourself with a wealth of experience, also not only just in the business, but the culture itself is just amazing for our viewer to have.
Appreciate it.
Because there's not many people that have both. So
Yeah.
kudos to you.
Thank you very much.
Brendan, before we get out of here, anything to say? Besides the
Um,
fact that V-Loans suck?
Thank you for tuning in once again. Another historic episode of Full Size
they
Run.
always are.
All equally important and historic to the culture.
I'm Rich Mace Lopez.
I'm Brendan Dunn, news editor at Soul Collector.
Till next time, y'all. Peace.